Hello, everybody. My name is Louis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. And we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. So please tell your people that we are here talking about cars, boats, trucks. And tonight we are going to be talking about leather that's made from mushrooms, which we talked about it last week. But now we have the professional in the house, Gil Munchie. How you doing, Gil?
Doing great. How you guys doing tonight?
Good to see you, Gil.
Great.
Like
great.
Louis said, we talked about this was our topic last week, but none of us knew like jack shit about it, so we didn't know what.
Yeah. I was tuning in last week, and you probably couldn't see me raising my hand. I was like, "Hey, I know something."
We just speculated the whole night. Yeah.
Because I dip into different leathers, but I never came across the mushrooms. So we're glad to have you here. I've been following you for a while on Instagram and love your work. And as I was telling you earlier, I'm still in ideas, so you might see something on my Instagram that looks like yours.
Listen, we put everything out there, and our videos every week we post constantly, different videos, different pictures. I mean, for us, we just want to put all the information out there, all the techniques. There's nothing hidden. Because we want to encourage other people to get in the industry because it's a dying industry,
Yeah, really.
Not enough young people getting into it. So the more we can get information out there and get people excited about it, so that's why we do it, And we don't claim to know it all. We put it out there and then we get feedback from people and they say, "Hey, have you ever tried it this way or that way?" And we just share ideas, and that's what it's about, It's just right. Keeping the craft going.
Since you mentioned it, Louis, Gil, what is your Instagram account? So we'll ask you again later, but this way people can look you up and find it.
So we have two accounts. The first one is Gillin Interiors. So that's GILLIN Interiors. Right. And that focuses completely on the upholstery side. And then we have GCD Auto Studio, which is the full build side.
Okay.
We started off as an upholstery shop, and then just with a handful of clients kept pushing us to do more. So we actually build full cars. We do restorations, resto mods.
Oh, cool.
And then,
how big is your shop, and how many guys do you have working for you?
We have 12,000 square feet, and there's 10 of us.
Nice.
Right.
Wow.
How long have you been in business?
The interior side, we started in 2006. And then on the full build side, we started 3 months before the whole COVID pandemic. So it was an interesting time, But it actually, in New York, it saved us because we had the DMV license. So in New York said you can stay open because you were considered essential if you had a DMV license. So we stayed open on that side, building cars. And then on the upholstery side, we started making face masks for all law enforcement and first responders and donating them for free. So we probably, we made a few thousand masks and just handed them out all the way from New York City troopers to Paterson, New Jersey, to, all different states. We just kept making masks and shipping them out and handing them off to first responders.
Nice. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so when you have tragedies or setbacks, some people step up and take care of things. So that's a good thing that you donated.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got to take care of the people who take care of us, and that's what we believe in. So.
Right. So every time I watch one of your videos, I learn something new, a new trick or a new way to do something. And in the leather side of it, like doing leather products, different knives or different scissors or different markers or anything like that, when you learn something new on something that's real simple that you don't think of, you're like, wow, why did I think of that? But I catch something on your videos all the time.
Yeah, it's the two biggest questions we get is what glue do we use? Which is the Weldwood contact cement. It's a blue and white can. And the other thing is, hey, what's that pencil you guys use to mark the leather? Which is the billow. You can get them on Amazon. They come in like 6-7 different colors, and it comes off with water, no issues. Because sometimes you use something to mark a piece of leather, and you're gonna have a hard time taking it off. Especially people who mark, do all the patterns and then forget to take it off, and then now they're putting a heat gun on it to kind of get some wrinkles out.
Oh, cook it.
That
Yep.
thing's in there. Good luck.
Well, the other day I couldn't find my pen, right? So I grabbed a regular pen because I figured I'm going to sew this bag, and I'll hide the ink. You know what I mean? So I was going to sew, man. On one side, it showed the whole side. I had to take it all apart and sew it again.
Yeah, what I've seen is people use like a Sharpie to mark the foam. And then they'll make, I've seen it in a lot of the boat interiors, right? So they'll use a Sharpie to mark all the lines on the foam, their patterns. And then they go and they'll stitch up a nice white cover, put it on. And then first time that thing gets wet, it starts to bleed through. And it's like, you're done.
That's terrible. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of tricks, man, to know. Very slick.
Well, I guess trial by error is one good way of learning, right?
Yeah. No, that's why we share a lot of it, because we want people to, learn something and also offer what their experience is.
How long have you been doing this, Gil?
2006, we opened up the interior shop.
Okay. How did you get started with doing interior work and leather and things?
Well, it was a business thing. So I was doing corporate marketing, and it was coming to an end with my contract, and I just needed something to do. And I've always been a car guy, so I just looked at the industry and saw that there was, dozens of paint shops, there was a ton of mechanic shops, and when I looked at upholstery, I noticed it's typically one person working in their house or a small shop. And then, I got the wheels turning. I said, well, if they're doing the work, they're not out there getting more work. Right. If they're out there getting more work, they're not getting the work done. So, we put together this idea to go ahead and go out there and recruit seasoned guys in the trim industry, because, sometimes you get to a point where you enjoy doing the work, but you just don't want to interact with the clients.
Yeah.
So we started building a team of seasoned trimmers, and that's how it started,
Do you find I know on the automotive repair side and in the bodywork side, which I have, hands in, it's very hard to find guys these days. Younger guys don't want to do it. They don't want to start, or they don't want to buy tools. Interior has always been a smaller facet of the game. Do you find it difficult to find good people?
Oh, it's brutal. Yeah. It's that's why if you look at our guys, our upholstery guys, they're older guys. They got 35, 40 years experience.
How well? Okay, so those guys are there. So if you needed another guy or two, how would you go about trying to recruit somebody? What would your methods be?
Well, right now there's only one school that teaches upholstery, so we kind of recruit there. But it's really going around locally and trying to get guys. And then it's social media, looking at who's doing what, who are the young guns out there, and approaching them and recruiting them and seeing if there's a possibility. We had a younger guy, but he passed away a couple of years ago. So, but he came out of Wildtech.
Right.
He came into the shop. I mean, he had the basics of knowing how to use the sewing machine, and he came for an interview, and I said, all right, well, you're gonna make a headrest, and he was there. His name was Chris. He spent the whole day trying to make this headrest. It looked horrible. It was so bad.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I said, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. He goes, you want me to come back? And I said, Chris, after today, you can't possibly do any worse than today. It's only uphill from here,
Right.
But typically, I mean, that's a rare thing to get a younger guy in to the shop. It's usually just older guys. But I think the industry is changing, though, because it's getting more advanced with technology, right? So, I mean, you look at the upholstery industry or the trimmer industry, it used to be a guy behind a sewing machine, right? So you stitch up some seat covers and, you put a convertible top on, those type of things, seat repair, headliner. But I think now with all this equipment, it's more people are sculpting. You know, you had with the routers, with the 3D printers, with the laser cutters. So people are making these panels that there's very little stitching involved. A lot of it is hard wrapped. You know, you have a school out there, Mobile Solutions, teaching people how to make door panels, center console, full dashboards, custom dashboards, trunk enclosures. So what you're down to now in the industry is the only real stitching is the seats.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a product of not having enough people in the industry that we started looking elsewhere to kind of fill that gap. You know, so, okay, if we could just focus on seat work for upholstery, and then we can figure out other ways to do door panels and trunks and dashboards and center consoles, it lightens the load a little bit. So I think that's kind of where the industry is right now. You know, there's companies out there that have these giant 3D printers, and you know, instead of spending 5-6 hours in the wood shop, you know, making an armrest or a door trim, they just go in there and program it and come back the next day and it's printed out.
Yeah.
Now I noticed out at Sema, I noticed a lot of interior guys out there selling seat covers that were made by machines, like the cross, diamond design.
Oh, the CNC stitching. Yep.
Yeah. So I kind of got worried about that a little bit. I'm like, man, that's going to take away, you know, the smaller guys.
Yeah, no, actually, I think it helps the smaller guys because you buy it by the panel, right? So you can send the leather there, and then they'll CNC, you know, diamond stitch or different. There's so many different designs, and then they ship the panels to you, and now you use that as your insert. So it's almost like having another employee without having them in your shop. You know?
Oh, that's true. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
there's definitely a lot of advances in the industry.
Yeah, really is the machinery. Papa Squirrel's in our he's in our blue room, I guess you call it, a green room, and they've done some. I don't even have something here. They've done some laser printing on some leather for me.
Yep.
I know I've seen some of their stuff on it, and it's just amazing that, you know, you just put it in the machine and get what you need.
Yeah, you can do that with leather. You can do it with Alcantara suede. I mean, it reacts nice to that.
Yeah, I don't see anything that they did for me, but yeah, they helped me out a lot. Yeah, so one day when I grow up, I might get a laser.
So far, we don't have lasers. We don't have 3D printers. It's just all craftsmen, you know, working with their hands, you know.
Yeah.
Do
So
I see a need for it? You know, eventually I do see a need for it. You know?
Yeah. So everybody in the chat, if you're on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, go check out their website, man, or their Instagram. Great work. So now we want to step into the mushroom leather.
Yep.
So how did you come across that, or what led you to it?
So when we got the call, a mutual buddy of ours, Terry, he called me up and said, "Hey, you're interested in getting involved in this Robert Downey project?" And I said, "Sure." So initially it came across as just the interior, but we wound up doing a lot more. So when the car came to us, the premise was mushroom leather. It was going to have mushroom leather because it was a 65 Corvette. It was converted to electric. So this was the whole premise of the show is building, you know, taking classic cars and making them more sustainable. So when we got the car, we got the material with it. So the leather actually came from a company called Ecovative. So we was very surprised when you looked at the hides. I mean, it looks like leather. It looks like leather. It feels like leather. The only indications you get is the weight of it. It's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it feels and acts just like leather. So, you cut it the same way. You stitch it. It heats up the same way. You can It's just you just have to account for the thickness of it, which I'm sure you can probably get it skived and thin it out. So the only concern we had with the leather was the way it folded or wrinkled. If you work with leather, if you kind of squeeze a little bit or kind of fold it and see how it's going to react.
Yeah.
So there was some concerns there with it, but we were able to wrap the dash on 65 vet, the door panels, the seats, and it laid down just like leather. No issues with it.
Now, here's the problem, though. It don't smell like leather.
Oh, it doesn't smell like leather. It smells not like leather.
Really?
Yeah, you get that earthy smell to it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little hint of it. That's the other indication that it's not leather. But what they do is it's these are forager hides, and they send them to a tannery, and it's treated just like a cowhide. It's tanned the same way. It's so the colors are. You can still get all the same colors you can with the regular leather.
Wow.
So going back to where we were last week, what's the process from being a mushroom in the ground to becoming a usable product? What do they actually do, with those mushrooms? And
it's actually it's a particular part of the mushroom, and the way they grow it, it's like these little strands, and then it's like bonded together, and then that's how it's kind of. Because with the mushroom, the same company, they'll make packaging, like to shipping packaging or shoes or handbags so it's just a matter of the way it's extracted and the way it's grown. It's like they're grown in these. It almost looks like baking trays, like cooking sheets.
So, at what point does it stop being food and start becoming a product?
I think once it comes out of that process and they're bonding it and kind of mixing it up,
yeah,
and getting that bonding agent to it to make it to have that texture, So
right.
I think at that point it becomes just an ingredient into the leather.
So that kind of answers our other question. At that point, animals really have no interest in it because it's not for food anymore. It's just it's the seat cover.
Yeah, it's just the covering.
All right.
But it's been around for quite a bit. The mushroom leather has been in the fashion industry for a while now. They've been making handbags out of it, and some pretty high-end brand handbag companies have been using mushroom leather.
Okay.
And if you think about a purse, a woman's purse, how much that takes, because it's constantly being touched by your hands, which has all the oils, and which, if leather, that's what breaks it down, the dirt, the oils, just putting stuff in it, opening and closing it, the right. Strap. So it's definitely has a track record for durability and usage in the industry. And there's plenty of companies using it for shoes as well. So.
Is it a cooler product to use for seats, than leather or another material? Like, cooler on your skin? Does it breathe better?
Yeah. No, I think it's about the same, because you remember once it gets to the tannery, they introduce the color, and most leather now they have a clear coat on it, so it has a protecting coat on it. So I think whether you have vinyl leather or mushroom leather, the breathability is pretty much the same,
So what's if a customer came in and wanted a set of seats done, maybe bucket seats and a rear seat, and they want to price it out with leather versus mushroom leather, what's the price difference between the two materials?
Significantly more expensive.
By a percentage? Yeah. By double? By?
It's probably, I would say, double the price.
Okay.
You got to think of the processing involved, how much it takes to get just one hide's worth of mushroom leather. So.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of mushrooms. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we got to
I don't know if I would recommend it at this point. It's really I think if somebody is coming in and they're wanting mushroom leather, it's a personal choice of theirs. It's not. I wouldn't have it as an option for a client just walking into the door looking to build a show car or a restoration on a car. If somebody is concerned with the environment and sustainability and is conscious about those things and they want that option, mushroom is one of the options. There's also leather made out of grape skin.
Oh wow.
So I mean, Tesla has this vegan leather as well. So there's plenty. If you don't want to use cow hides, there's plenty of options.
Okay.
And the color palette, it's a wide palette. What you can get.
Yeah.
Anything from shiitake to portobello, right?
There you go.
Do you know what type of mushrooms they use?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of like an episode of What's My Line? It's like we're putting out those questions to see who is the real mushroom, interior maker.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is, Gil, we'll throw out any question that we can possibly think of because, I know Lewis gets it too. People will constantly ask me, hey, you should have asked this guy this. Why didn't you ask him that? And a lot of times you don't remember everything. You can't think of everything. But
I would say if someone's interested in learning more about mushrooms, that it's episode 4 of Downey's Dream Cars on Max. It's streaming on Max. All 6 episodes are on there. Episode 4 is the 1965 Corvette. And they actually bring the gentleman on from Ecovative, and he goes into detail about how the process happens and the results of it. But I will say, working with it, there was no issue, and it's definitely if somebody didn't tell someone that it was mushroom leather, you couldn't tell the difference.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Louis, you got to get your hands on something, make something.
I know. Well, it's double the price. I can't afford regular leather.
Yeah.
We may be able to make that happen for you.
Small.
Yeah, make a wallet.
The hides were big though. They were like, they were big, decent sized hides, because that was my concern when we were having that discussion. I'm like, how big of because I'm thinking like you put some mushrooms together and what is it, like a little sheet?
Yeah, 12 by 12, 16 by 14. Right.
Yeah, but when it actually arrived, it's pretty much comparable to a hide of leather, So there was no issue there because that was my concern was how do we do a dashboard or a door panel? Like I can't. It's going to be a lot of stitching. It's going to be like a quilt,
Right.
So,
Right. Patchwork.
So by it being made like that, you get more of a square than the cowhide that has a different, legs and stomach or different sizes.
Yeah. And the other thing you get too is there's no imperfections. It might be a slight imperfection from the embossing part of it, but you're not getting the barbed wire or the holes, any of that stuff. So you're getting more out of the hide than you would get out of a natural hide.
Yeah, because I have pieces where I get bug bites and like you said, barbed wire. But I've had some people request that. They wanted the branding or the barbed wire marks. Yeah. Especially
on a distressed leather, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also where you get, leather from. Like for us, we use Relicate leather quite a bit. And they're just beautiful hides of leather, soft, very little imperfections, nice, and it has a nice stretch to it, and they're pretty well stocked, so we can get things pretty quickly. So,
nice.
On the flip side, you could go and get leather from another company, and there's going to be a giant hole in the middle of it. There's going to be 6 branding marks, three scars on it. So you save a few bucks, but you're throwing half the hide away.
Yeah, I've gotten that from Tandy. Like I have a rush job. Somebody say, "Oh, I need it fast," so I'll call Tandy because it's only an hour away, and they send me stuff with a big hole in the middle. I'm like,
yeah, those are my favorigs. Like,
what are you gonna do with this? Yeah,
especially if you're trying to do a headliner. I'm like, I can't use that piece.
Put in a big dome light.
Yeah, big dome light. Put a chandelier in.
Right.
You just put it on like a poncho or something.
Yeah.
So where are you at in Long Island?
I'm in Nassau County, so I'm on the western side, and thinking about relocating to North Carolina though. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's not an easy task.
No.
Not when you've been here all your life.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Got this piece in. I think I'm gonna do my motorcycle seat in this. It was on sale, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll send it."
Is that pretty thick, right?
Yeah, well, it's about 3 ounce.
Yeah.
I'll scribe it down, but I think I'll make some wallets. Just little stuff with it.
So 3 ounce. I mean, I can't just by looking at the computer screen. I'm thinking, what's that, like 30 thou? What's do they even measure it that way? Probably not.
I don't know how to. I don't know.
I was thinking decimal.
Here's a bag I'm making. I got to turn this out. I could still sewing it up, but this is a nice piece of leather that came. I'm still in the process of sewing it.
Nice. Yeah.
So when I grow
with leather is thicknesses, right? Especially when you get into the automotive industry and you're making panels, you gotta, you learn how to gap things the right way. So you gotta we always work, if we're working on a project, we gap with the actual leather we're using, because you just can't take it for granted that it's going to be the same thickness of the last leather you use.
Oh, right.
So you get a gap, and then you have this gap tool, and that's how you kind of build all your gaps around the piece. It's just the knowledge of knowing if I wrap that piece and I wrap that piece, and then there's a piece under it, winds up being like 4 thicknesses.
Yeah.
And the other thing we use is a lot of magnets to hold panels together. So it has to fit perfect, because it's it makes it serviceable too. If somebody needs to get a panel off, they can just pop the center panel off that's held on with magnets, which exposes screws. So you start building panels like that, you have to have your gaps dialed in. And,
right now,
thickness comes in.
I'm building a retired school bus into a motorhome.
I've seen it. Yep.
So,
you guys, how much you raised that roof to?
18 inches.
Okay.
Yep. The fellas came in from all over the country, and they took the saws to it. Yep. So I'm gonna steal some of the magnet ideas, because I've seen it on your channel. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Magnets, and much as possible, I'm gonna do my dash. I'm gonna make the front end of it like a car. So okay. I'm gonna do a center console.
They're called neo magnets,
Yeah.
But I will give you some advice. Don't take magnets and to hold up like a headliner or a panel that it sits against the exterior metal.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to magnetize that, because when there's dust and dirt in the air, any little metal particle in the air is going to stick to the paint. And then somebody's going to come by and try to wipe that car.
Oh, wow.
Drag across the wall.
I would have never thought that.
That's a great tip.
We did a trunk, a trunk lid panel, on the inside. So we just put magnets on it, clicked right in, it looked beautiful. And we're at a show, and we started noticing them, like, you could almost see the impression of the magnet, where the dust collected in the same circle as the magnet. We were like, all right, no more magnets on trunk lids. It's not good. So
that's a great tip, man. I would have never thought that.
That is, yeah. Well, that's the stuff you learn by doing,
Oh yeah, because that could have been a really expensive mistake somebody made.
Sure.
Wiping that car down and scratching that paint up. So now what we'll do is we'll put a panel on traditionally with either screws or clips, and then the magnets will go panel to panel, so that way it doesn't magnetize the trunk lid itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think you guys did a center console, and it was all magnet, like the center part of it.
Oh yeah,
pretty slick. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat, man, because that is one of the hardest things, is to fasten stuff together.
Yeah, because we don't like to show any fasteners, as much as we can. On some of the jobs, like the race cars or things like that, or the more traditional hot rod stuff, they'd love to see screws or fasteners, and that's fine. But on the show car stuff, no one wants to see a screw. So you got to figure out, how do I make this thing secure and then hide how I made it secure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's great. So tell us a little bit about Robert's car. What do you think about the electric on that?
On that one, it was that one wasn't that fast. It was so it didn't have the transmission, right? It was direct drive. So I think the top speed on it was like just over 90.
All right.
very responsive. It's the weird part about the electric is like you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
It's like you turn the key. There's no sound. You're still using the gear shifted on that particular one, and it drove just like a '65 Corvette. What we try to do is with the interior is maintain the same exact stitch pattern, but just modernized it with the leather, with the mushroom leather.
Yeah.
But the engine itself fit in there beautiful. You open up the hood. I mean, it doesn't look like a big block or a small block. I mean, but this company called Electrified Garage did the conversion. They did a beautiful job on it. I mean, it fit in there like it belonged there. And then in the spare tire well, actually where the gas tank was, the other set of batteries were there. So when you actually open up the gas cap on that Corvette, if you're familiar with the Corvette, it's like kind of where the trunk lid would be in a normal car.
Yeah.
You flip that open and the plug was there where you can plug it in.
Nice.
That's a good place for it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the colors were, Robert had an interesting color palette, He picked all the colors. This one was, I would say, the best one out of the bunch because it was a navy blue. And then instead of chrome, we did everything in a brushed aluminum finish.
Oh, nice.
And then everything had a matte clear on it.
Okay.
So it had this matte clear with navy blue with the brushed aluminum. I mean, it was, with that tannish interior, it looked great,
That's good. That's something we were talking to Terry about when he was talking about his bumpers and painting the bumpers. And on a Corvette, there's not a whole hell of a lot of chrome. I mean, you have the split bumper in the front and the rear, and there's some window trim.
Yep, got some decals, the emblems.
That's about it. Yeah, I mean the gas cap is chrome, but that's really about it. 65 doesn't have the hood insert. So yeah,
the bumpers.
I think
we painted them like a silver color.
Okay, yeah.
And then we took scuff pads and brushed it.
Right.
And then cleared over that. So I mean, you wouldn't be able. It had this cartoon look to it, which all the cars did. The El Camino we built was kind of this orangey brown with a kind of a lighter brown trim color. That was the other thing. He wanted the wheels to match the body color, and then the trim. There was a custom steering wheel in that one as well. So all the colors. The Mercedes was a green with a like a saddle color. We called it peanut butter and jelly, because it looked like like a peanut butter. Oh no, we said peanut butter and celery. That was that one. And then the K10 was a nice color. It was like different tones of gray, but all matte finish.
Nice.
And then the VW bus was a tan with brown trim work on it.
Nice.
Nice.
How many cars a year do you guys build?
I would say full builds would probably, 3 to 4,
Oh, okay. That's good. What comprises more of your time? Is it, piecework on cars, component stuff, or do you spend more time on the full builds? Like what's your what if that came out right? I don't know.
It depends on the build side. So everything other than upholstery, most of the time is spent on building the cars.
Uh-huh.
On the interior side, we do a lot of convertible tops. We'll probably do about 40 a year.
Right.
And then we do seat repairs. We do a lot of interior kit installs. But on the full interior, like the full custom interiors, we'll do about 12 a year.
Right.
Which seems like a lot, but remember we have 3 guys behind the machine and we have 2 fabricators. So the way we work is a car comes in. If we get 2 brand new builds in, there's 2 that are midway through, and then there's 2 that are wrapping up.
Yeah.
So we kind of keep it so that way when that new build comes in, the fabricators handle that car for the first few weeks. So the upholstery guys don't even touch it yet.
Oh, no.
And then it moves on to upholstery, and then as that moves on, there's another 2 that are in final assembly with the interior. So usually when it comes to final assembly, we'll have an upholstery guy and a fabricator on it at the same time. That way, the install goes smoothly. So we've got it down to science now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, if you need a glass rear window on a navy blue top for 67 GTO, I have one sitting right next to me. I got in a trade with a bunch of parts. I got to get rid of so much stuff, and I don't know how I'm going to get rid of that.
Oh, somebody's looking for it.
Oh yeah.
eBay.
Yeah, and then shipping it too. That's going to be, it's a glass window.
So. Yeah. Yeah, right now we're actually looking for somebody who does the flush mount glass for windshield and rear glass for a 66 Tempest. That's what we're building a 66 Tempest right now on a Roadster shop chassis with an LS motor. So
nice.
Trying to get Fessler doesn't do it yet, so we're just trying to find somebody who may do that flush mount glass.
The Ring brothers do.
Yeah.
For 66, yeah.
I mean, they do it. They've done it for everything. Anything they work on, they just fab it. It's funny because I have a 66 Pontiac, and I had all the glass redone. I kept the original glass that was good. I had to change the windshield, but we took the rear window out and resealed it so that everything fit right. But the windshield now, the newer windshield, was thinner. It was not as thick. So the glass guy had to build up the butyl so that window would be right, and the stainless would fit. So he said a lot of guys they get bit by that one.
Yeah.
And then the molding is on crooked and everything looks wonky. It's, nutty.
I was talking to Dave Kingdig, and he said when they work on window trim, they throw it away. They take it off, throw it away, and redo the whole thing because they fight with it so much. He just creates it new.
Oh wow.
Yep.
That's kind of an intricate piece to make new. I mean, there's little tiny tight bends and all. I mean,
he uses that wand, that computer wand.
Yep.
Right.
Scan
he wands it. Yeah.
Then they can CNC it right out. Plus, I mean, they have that's an interesting shop there. I look at that show and I go, there's so much brilliance there as far as engineers, and I was like, there's no way that was a car shop to begin with. They must have been doing something else and then started doing cars, because you look at the amount of equipment they have and the engineers they have. It's just beyond. You can't even approach that.
Listen, he was working for somewhere else and quit and walked home. He was like the salesman or something. He was telling me, and he said something happened and he quit, and he started walking home, and he called his wife and said, I quit and I'm walking home. She goes, good. Now you can start your business. And that's how he started. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we've done quite a few of the handles, the Kindig handles on the cars. So we're doing that on the Tempest has the Kindig handles on it. So.
Okay.
I think he had something to do with the Tesla. I think he helped design for Tesla.
Yeah, I think that's the patent on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, he's no joke.
No. Have you been to that shop or?
No. He was. I seen him at a show. Actually, he came here to a show here in Ohio, and we had lunch and we hung out. Because I had some celebrities that I had at the same show, and we just sat around talking. And he just, I like picking people's brains, so I'm asking him all kind of stuff. I was like, well, how do you do this? And he's like, oh yeah, we wand it. He's telling me everything. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice to come across people in the industry that are willing to sit down and talk. There's so many people in this industry that, I don't know, maybe they believe too much of what they hear about themselves, and you can't even approach them.
No, not him. He has a trailer that has a deck on the roof. So we all went up there, and you can see the whole show. And he's just the modest guy, and he just loves what he does. And, just a nice guy.
Yeah. And I saw he's got that whole thing with Lincoln Tech, was it Lincoln Tech, right? They have that whole academy they did to help the industry out. So that's huge,
Yeah. Pretty much everybody's like that too. Steve Darnell from Welder Up is the same way. Every time I see it, every time we go to Vegas, we hook up or hang out, and he's the same way. You'd never know he's on TV, and you know, he's just that type of guy. And I think that's basically the car industry.
Yeah.
Really. You get some idiots, I ain't gonna mention no names,
Yeah.
it's a monkey place. But
I met that guy. I was at a show in Philly. He was there. Yeah.
well, I ain't gonna say nothing else. But yeah, for the most part, man, the auto industry is a great bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And it's so diverse too. When you look at just the different type of shops out there, and what some people like, like graveyard cars. All they do is Mopar, and then you got some guys that just specialize in Pontiacs, and then some guys that just do restoration work. And then
who's the Pontiac guy? I want to know who that is because I haven't found him yet.
It used to be a guy who did.
I'm a Pontiac guy, so I want to find that. I came with Steve, like, yeah, it'd be nice to have. I watch, we watch Mark Woolman all the time on Graveyard Cars. I'm like, there's no other show that does what he does. I mean, and you would think there'd be somebody doing something with Chevys or Fords and certainly not. Listen, I've been in the BOP world since I'm a teenager, and I'm used to being the bastard child, but it'd be nice to see something, in this day and age.
Well, I think the Mopar guys are a whole different breed,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, hang out with Buick Olds Pontiac guys. We're definitely a different breed too. It's like Mercury guys, like, when you've been shunned all your life and there's like, you're always like second rate or whatever, you learn how to do more with less because even the parts were very expensive.
Yeah.
Now that's come around a lot better, but
Yeah, we're doing a 68 Cougar right now in the shop. It's pretty much down to the final assembly stage of getting it together, but that was a challenge,
Yeah,
finding parts because I mean it's come a long way, but it's not anywhere near like a Mustang where you can just open up 4 different catalogs and get any part you want.
Right. Exactly.
And they're beautiful cars. I like the Cougar better than the Mustang. I think it's got better body lines. The chrome packages on them. It's such a nice car. I mean,
it's based on the Mustang. Yeah, we got Matt Man Bryan here, who's a Ford guy. He can tell you all about it. But it was that upscale. It was for like the guy who was graduating from the Mustang. Maybe now he's in middle management, wherever. He's got a wife, maybe having 2 kids, and they needed a little bit nicer car to drive. Step up to that Cougar. It was it was a great, a great. And then from there you go to a T-Bird, maybe. When you really made it, you went to the Lincoln. To the, Continental.
Yeah. So there's a guy here in my town that has a 76 Lincoln with suicide doors. I think it's a Lincoln.
Yeah.
No, is that what came suicide?
The Lincolns did, yeah. The Continentals, yeah, in the '60s, the early to mid '60s.
Right?
Actually,
yeah, I don't know what year they cut off, but I know.
I think up to '69.
Okay, so no, this is a Cougar. No, it's a Thunderbird. I'm sorry,
Thunderbird. Oh, the Thunderbird. Yep.
Yeah, with the suicide doors. And when I seen it, I was like, man, what kind of car is that? I was like, I know it's a Ford, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Then the guy got on my bus one day and he goes, oh yeah, that's my car. I was like, oh man, that's a pretty nice car. He goes, yeah, I'm trying to sell it. If I had the money, I'd buy it because you don't see them.
Right.
76. 76. Yep.
They have the big like the Landau top with the chrome on the side there.
Yeah.
Sure did. Yeah, nice looking car. It needs paint. It needs restored and everything. But I think that'd be a nice car to work on.
There are T-Bird parts. I know that there's a couple T-Bird clubs here on the island. I have them on my show all the time. It's the T-Bird Owners of New York. That's Tony, and the Thunderbird Club of Long Island / New York City. That just covers all the regular birds. And over the years, they said these guys, I have them on the show every year, and they've said that they do pretty well at their shows, but the ranks of the club are kind of diminishing because guys are aging out, and the new guys aren't coming in, and they're not buying the big old T-Birds. Younger guys aren't buying those cars, so they're not getting new members. a shame.
I think you're seeing that across a lot of clubs out there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Although you see the like the more newer cars, those clubs seem to be doing well. Especially the Mopar guys. I see that there's a bunch of different clubs.
Right.
The Chargers and the Challengers, and I think the clubs with the imports are probably bigger than some of the classic car clubs now.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that? Do you see that up by you, up your way?
Oh yeah.
I see a lot of the cars down here, but I don't see necessarily that the guys are organized in club fashion. It's more of a just come as you are, run what you brung, kind of hangout thing. But I don't know. I could be wrong. There could be more structure than I'm aware of.
Yeah, there's a few groups up by us, and they do these meets.
Yeah.
So you said you're in Orange County?
Orange County, New York. Yeah.
How close are you to Choppers, American Choppers?
Well, now they're in Florida now, so
yeah.
But we're probably a few exits away, so probably within 20 minutes of where they used to be in Newburgh. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, their first season, I used to transport cars, and their first season, I stopped there, and we walked through there like we worked there. That's how new they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they gave us a tour of the place. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. They were very polarizing. Those people. People either loved them or hated them, and it's amazing. Like so many people would say so much about them, but they were nice guys. And
Yeah.
I always look at it and go, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to our industry, because it put that the craftsman and the bike builder on TV in front of millions of people, which turned into other shows, and that's, I think if it wasn't for that show, you wouldn't see the Kindig or the Graveyard Cars or the American Hot Rod, because that's what started afterwards too, right? The Boyd show, right? It started with the Chopper, and then they had that whole spin-off of American Hot Rod and
American Hot Rod,
American Restoration with the guy out in Vegas, doing candy machines and all these different things. So
Rick Dale.
Yep. So I think, when I look at, American Chopper, they get a bad rap sometimes because of the arguing and the drama, which I think a lot of it was just created for television. But if it wasn't for that show being the #1 rated show on Discovery for so many years, the industry, I don't think would be where it's at right now.
Yeah, I think it did change. I'm good friends with Joe Connington, Boyd's wife. And she was on our show. If you guys get a chance, go back and look at the episode from here. And she talked about that, how it evolved through those TV shows.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was just watching the old episodes. It's just amazing how it was filmed in this documentary style, and that they highlighted the worker themselves and just the art of what they were building. It's just, it was a pure car show. Now you got things are just kind of gimmicky, or there's always that you feel that there's a need to entertain people, where it's like for gearheads like me, I just want to see you building the car. I don't need all the theatrics and all that nonsense. Just I can watch an hour-long show of just building a car, and that's it. We don't need the rest of that stuff. But I guess for entertainment purposes, they need it.
Louis, Brian just weighed in that the T-Birds were suicide doors 67 to 71.
71. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, they're nice cars. Yep. All right, we got a surprise guest coming in for you.
Uh-oh.
The famous. Famous.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up there, buddy?
What's going on?
Doing all right, man. We got Ray in the house, got Lewis, got Miguel in the house. What's up?
Good to see you.
I heard y'all talking about the cars, the Thunderbird.
Yeah.
I had a friend who had a 68, and it had the hideaway headlights, and I believe it had the sequential taillights. I'm not sure. But, we laughed at that car because, we didn't laugh at it, but, it was just, hey, it's a Thunderbird. But now that car stands out, man. He had the suicide doors and everything. It was great. I like
Now,
that car.
You could get that with a big block, right? Didn't they have like this monster 430
I think they had a
or 428 or something? Or
No,
I think you could get
430 was the big Ford motor back then, and that was in the later ones, the bigger ones. In the 60s, I think it was. I know there was a lot of them had 390s,
like a 390, 389 or something like that.
389's Pontiac engine. 429. Brian's saying 429 was
420.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know the
You
Lincoln
only
had
get
a 430. The early Lincolns had the 430.
Yeah.
I had a suicide Lincoln, and that had I think it was 63. I'm going to say that had a 430 in that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it should have a 430 in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one we got in the shop has the 430 in it. So.
It looks just like that one. Perfect.
Yep.
Actually, no, that was you have two. Didn't you have two in there?
Yeah.
Or one?
66 convertible and a 64 hardtop. So.
That's the one. That's the one. I had a 63. I had a 63 convertible hardtop. I should have kept that car, man. If I know.
Yeah, we all say that.
Every car you've owned.
Yeah.
But there was no love for that car. I got it for like $1,000 because it was sitting in my friend's, one of my coworkers, his grandmother. I told Gil the story. It was his grandmother's. She bought the car. It was there. She was the original owner, his grandmother. And back then, when you got it, they had like a plaque, like built especially for what the lady's name was. And she still had the plaque on there and everything like that. And my friend Steve, he used to just drive the car shows and all that, and he just got tired of it. Sat in the garage for like 15 years. He was like, "Terry, you want it?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I realized how rare those parts are, and I was just like, yeah. But I should have just let it sit.
Over the years, I was offered a couple of them, even in the 60s, which is the ones I really like a 66 I love. Those are the Bullet Birds. But I know that, parts are an issue. They're not easy cars to restore necessarily. So plus not being
you gotta be a real good metal craftsman because I think that front end is one piece. Correct me if I'm right, Gil. There's no fender. It's like it's all one huge piece.
Yeah.
And that's what got me because I had to repair that. But at the time I wasn't really doing much body work, but now I'd cut that piece out and weld it. But
I'd stick with one.
Back then I was just like, it ain't a Chevelle, I don't want it. But I was like, well, I'll take this one. I think I got like $5,000 for it. Some guy in California, he loved it, and I was like, well, still do some outrageous number. And he was like, I'll come and get it. And I was like,
all it takes, man. One person to want it, and
that's it. I should have said $7,000. But it is what it is. So congratulations, Gil.
Thank you.
Congratulations, well deserved.
So what are you congratulating about?
Oh, show success. Show success.
Yeah, he's popping. I love his stuff. You're on my list.
Gil, were you a native New Yorker?
Yeah, I was from the Bronx, South Bronx, Patterson houses.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
And moving on up.
Oh, yeah.
Orange County. Yeah, nice.
It's got a really nice shop up there. You got to go up. Yeah, we got to go up there and check it out. I mean, I went up there, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, and he's got a lot more room than what he had before, but I mean, it's peaceful. It's quiet. He's got turtles and frogs in the back.
Wow.
Nice pond. Yeah.
And a bar.
And a bar. Yeah.
Nice. So here's that 67 I was talking about.
Oh yeah. That nose. Look at that grill, man. That is.
Yeah.
So I gotta admit, that's a work of art right there.
It really is.
That whole front fascia, it's weirdly beautiful.
No, it is very beautiful. It is a nice car. It is.
I think I can get it cheap. You guys want it? Who wants it? I can get it to you real quick.
Like I said, I could have had a couple of them, but I had to turn them down because they just weren't. They needed stuff that was typical, and I mean the mechanical stuff never scares me, but it was, the trim parts and
they're hard to get.
That scares me because if you can't find it, if it doesn't exist, you ain't finding it, and then now you have an incomplete car, and you're gonna have to live with that. That's no fun.
No,
Hey,
No.
I got a question for you guys. If, like, I have a couple cars that I want to find out what happened to them that I own, but how do you go back if you don't have the VIN or anything like that?
Oh, sure, the VIN. No, well, a couple. I'll tell you, I got a couple of auto crimes, retired auto crimes police buddies, and they say they do this with their cars. They just you drop that VIN in Google every now and again, and you see what comes up. And I've done it with one of my cars. I would love to get back, but it never comes back, which means it's either been crushed, disposed of, or it's just off the road and sitting somewhere. And so, but they say sometimes you'll get hits. You will get hits on just by Googling the VIN.
Yeah, I can't.
You got to have the VIN, I guess. Huh?
Right.
Yeah, I can't imagine where I could find the VIN.
Yeah,
I was,
you don't have
20.
the old title or something, or even the old insurance card or something. Yeah.
No, we didn't have insurance back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, we were gangsters.
We didn't have insurance back then.
What's yours?
I actually kept a copy of old registration for all of my cars. So just I don't know, just because for nostalgia sake. But now I can go back and you look at it and you see, wow, I own that. But yeah, I got a copy of those VINs.
I have keys from my old cars.
I have some of those too. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I have some of those right here.
We know you do.
That's why he's looking for those VIN numbers.
Those numbers.
I got a couple right here. Yeah, I got some all over the place. I got a bunch of stuff.
He's a friend that's a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got keys everywhere.
So Gil, we could talk about any part, and Ray will say, "Oh, I got it right here."
Yeah.
A GTO window. That's a new one for here. No one's heard about that one before.
Oh man.
So
how's Le Mans coming, Gil?
The Tempest is coming nice, man. It's they got rid of the drip rails, and then so what we did was put a little step on it to match the A pillar, so it's all through and through. So starting at the A pillar all the way through to the drip rail, it has a little step in it. Nice and smooth. Changed the tail pan there because it had some damage on it. Got the new
when you get rid of drip rails, you have to pretty much weld the roof to
that seam,
all the way where the drip rail was. Okay.
All the way, yeah. And then smooth it out and give it a nice profile.
Smooth out, try not to warp it.
See, that's where, I mean, I'm a big fan of custom, and I'm a big fan of wild custom. But on a car, like a 60s car, like even on my Pontiac, I kind of like seeing that chrome trim. I kind of think that molding, it just really does set off the paint. It's just something about that I like, but not that I wouldn't like it the other way, but I would have a hard time deciding,
I always have a hard time.
The nice thing with the Tempest there, it has that trim around the window.
Right.
You don't lose the full trim. You lose the drip rail, but you still have that edge around the window. This is a post car, so you has it.
I was going to say it was a hard top or a coupe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got a tilt column for that car.
What do you have?
I got a tilt steering column for that car right in the next room. I was going to put it in my car, and I didn't.
Gil, you think we're kidding? We talk about any part, and he has it there in the basement.
and you know the cool part about his Tempest? He's keeping it a Tempest. He's not converted to a GTO.
That's nice. Yeah, that's cool. I'm for that. Sure.
Now, is that your personal car?
No, it was my wife's car, and then we had a client come in, and they said they wanted to build a muscle car, and he saw that car, and he said, "Well, I'm going to buy it," and we were like, "Well, it's not for sale." He goes, "I'm going to buy it, and you're going to build it." So
it's a 66, you said.
Yeah.
So that's got the rear light. The brake lights look like brackets, like
yeah, little shells there. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Like half butterfly wings.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's got nice body lines,
Yeah.
It's a pretty car. The car's gonna be tough. I like it.
It's got Terry's favorite engine in it.
Of course. Yeah, we know that. I kept my Pontiac all Pontiac. I'm flying that flag.
So we're gonna let the fellas in now. We usually let them in at 9:30, but we've been having a good conversation. So let's get the fellas in. They can ask you questions if they want. Papa Squirrel, give me a nod if you want in. What's up, guys?
Hey guys, what's going on? What's new and exciting?
Brian, what's up?
Terry, you know, every time I'm listening to you, and you always start talking about a Ford. I'm telling you, buddy.
Yeah.
I want to send you a Ford shirt, and we're putting a Coyote in something, buddy. Me and you, hand in hand.
I tell you what.
Oh, I got something.
I'm trying to stockpile I'm trying to stockpile cars, and don't be surprised if you see one come through.
Yeah.
There's only 2 that would possibly come through.
I'm coming up. We're having a video. Me and you.
We could do it.
Salt and pepper, putting a Coyote in.
Dude,
don't worry.
I got the book.
There we go.
I'm ready to go.
But see, the Coyote, the car that I'm talking about, the Coyote wouldn't fit in there. I had to go Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Oh, nice.
Easy,
I have to go
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Easy. We got to put you on the small step program. You know, you start with the LS, and then you move up to a Coyote. Then you go for the Godzilla, buddy.
You see,
I gotta go Godzilla.
Godzilla. Because Brian's used to like selling guys the tool cart first, then moving them up to the 4, then moving them up to the 6. So he's used to the upsell.
Yeah.
You know? So,
I gotta keep it hooked. If I do it all at one time, there's no reason for me to come back.
Jumping in feet first. Godzilla.
Hey, that Godzilla, me and Terry was out at PRI, and they were building one right there, man. And that thing is a beast.
It almost looks like an LS.
Now
look at it.
It's a little delusional there, Terry. You may be
no. If you look at that Godzilla, it kind of. Matter of fact, they said that they made the Godzilla for the LS. Yeah. So it kind of almost looks like an LS.
You may be supplanting your machinations onto other machinery because I know that's how you think.
And I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard Cletus McFarlane used LS lifters in a Godzilla.
Really?
Oh. Yeah. Well, hey, my little small block 289 there's got big block valve train, so big block Chevy valve train. So,
You should never told me that. That's going to come back and haunt you. You should never told me that.
It had to stay all together, though. See, I mean, when you're spending that thing at $10,000, it had to stay together. So,
well, at least you
well,
first step to recovery.
What did they do? What did they do in the like? What did Mark Donahue do? How did he build his motors for the Trans Am series? Those were 302s.
Yeah.
So what parts did they use?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, hey, it's kind of like when we had that one guy about NASCAR stuff when they're using Honda connecting rods or whatever. I mean, they play around and it's like everything else, just like anything. You go dig around in something, you find. You go back. What was it? Dale Earnhardt's father used a number 2 screwdriver, a Stanley screwdriver for his. He would cut it and use that to hold the gear because the gear would bend on timing or whatever. You just find stuff and use it. At that point, it doesn't matter if it's Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, or whatever. You just dig around and find something that either met your needs or kept your limits.
Yeah, but I know that. I get that's the essence of hot rodding. But in Trans Am, they had to use factory components, didn't they? Or maybe I'm wrong. I thought they had. So
like I said, you ain't cheating until you're caught. So who knows what they did?
That's very true. Very true.
Just because they bought a box off the Ford dealership and opened the back end and stuck something in it and then sealed it back up, I don't know, Ray. I just know that
you're right.
sometimes you gotta use pieces and parts from something else.
But I do know that Ford, I mean, every manufacturer, maybe not AMC, but all the big guys, they had bona fide race parts that would go, that were in the choice, like the Chevy 302.
And you said it earlier. I mean, just look at the average kid trying to get the most out of his money. And when you look at the price for a Chevrolet part versus a Ford or whatever, what's the cheapest thing, right?
Yeah.
And the best thing.
I want to say the best thing. I still broke shit, but I'm just saying, when it came down to price and availability where you can find it at the 7-Eleven, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, you might have installed it wrong. Hey, a broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Gil, these two go at it all night.
And it's only because I love the guy.
Back at you.
Come on, man.
You're getting a hug.
I know. I'm coming up there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, Gil, are you doing anything for SEMA this year?
Not that I know of yet. So usually what happens is it gets dumped in our lap at the last minute. So as of right now, we have no plans for anything going to SEMA.
Well, that's like every TV show, right? So why real life should be the same way? Isn't real life like TV?
I remember a couple of years ago, we had to do 3 interiors within 6 weeks, all going to SEMA.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You talking about the 612?
What happened?
Are you talking about the 612 Trans Am?
No. Before that, we did 2 for a shop out in PA, and one. Actually, one was the 612, the Flex's, the first
Charger?
one, Deception. Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. Those are the guys that make the Challenger. They take a Challenger and make like a 69, now 68 Charger out of them. Mm-hmm. They put a carbon fiber skin over them, over a 60, out of a brand new Hellcat or whatever. And it's really cool to see them because they're right around the corner from me. So I go there and I check them out every now and then. And it's really cool to see the whole process of them, like stripping the car to like a skeleton basically, and Lou's doing donuts in a skeleton Challenger, like come out the factory. Like these cars, they get them with 8 miles on them,
Wow.
Because people buy them and they just go and, hey, here you go. And some people buy 2.
That's crazy. To tear it apart.
Well, to give it to Lou, and now he's doing CUDAs. So, you got one guy who got a Charger, and then now he wants a CUDA. So
now, did you see what's his name? Never mind. I can't. My brain's gone. Never mind.
Someone. So, Gil, what do you think about that mushroom interior?
Well, we talked about it. I thought it was great. It's if you put it in a show right next to a full natural hide leather interior, you wouldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
And the guys like working with it, and it did everything it was supposed to do. And it looked
pretty cool.
Finished product looked just like natural hide leather, and it's very durable. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, it's been pretty much a regular thing in the fashion industry. So there's been a lot of handbag companies using it, shoe companies.
I never knew.
So it's very durable,
Yeah, that paint job on that Corvette looks really good. That Corvette looked really good.
Yeah. We have the soundbite of Robert saying this is one of the nicest paint jobs I've seen.
I saw that. I saw that. That would be my doorbell. Like if someone walks in.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be like, hey, we do nice paint work. If you don't believe us, listen to what this guy has to say.
This is one of the nicest paint jobs I've ever seen. Yeah. And Rich Rebuild said it too.
Yeah.
Rich Rebuilds confirmed it.
Yeah, and they love the interior on it too. I mean, it was such. I'm not anything against TV cars, but it was the most non-TV car built for that entire show, because it was built like it was a 100% full build show car. I mean, we put everything into that car. I mean, we did it got the same treatment as every other car that goes through that shop. So the fit and finish, the body work, the paint work, the interior, everything. So
They went to the right people.
Yeah.
Mr. Gill, I got
He's going to win the car. You know, it's actually being, there's a sweepstakes, and all 6 cars are going to be available.
Wow.
Mr. Gill, I got a question to ask you. I got a customer. I got a shop I go into. Eddie is the owner of the shop, and he started out doing tent and audio, equipment and so forth, and that's what his business really is. He has started to make custom interior stuff and doing interior. I've known the guy basically for 20 years. I mean, he started out as an apprentice at a place, and he's worked his way up into having a shop, basically. And but what could you tell or have for him to get into? He really loves doing the custom stuff, and he does it. But trying to find the clientele or getting his foot in the door, because he makes a lot of neat stuff. And of course, it's all it's all doing on his own stuff or friends. He hasn't gotten the breakthrough yet, I guess, or anyway. And I just, as somebody that's kind of gotten a little further, what doors are open for him, or
what area is he in?
We're in the Silver Spring, Maryland area.
Yeah, I think our approach early on was, because I had, a corporate background. So I knew the best approach we could do is I went after custom shops and restoration shops. Because my thought was, if I can get in the door and have a conversation, instead of talking to one person about one job, if I get in with that shop owner or that shop manager, it could be 4 or 5 jobs. It could be 6 jobs. So I think that would be my approach. If you want to get from doing your own stuff and your buddy's stuff and into, starting a full-fledged business, I think approach shops in the area. Because chances are they're going to be frustrated because they're probably putting out more cars than the local guy can handle. So it gives you a foot in the door,
Well, like you said, in my route, I'm basically my area. I'm in the D.C. area. I'm between D.C. and Baltimore area down here in Maryland, and upholstery shops. When I started 20 years ago, I had like 5 shops that did upholstery work, and I'm down to 1.
Yeah.
And and Jamie does phenomenal work. And again, I do have a couple restoration shops, and they do it all in-house, but they're only, like you said, they're not looking at a mass production or, mass cars. They got 6 cars, and it takes them however long or when they're working through that type of thing.
Yeah, I think the important thing about running a business is the part that most people forget. It's the business part of it, right? So we get so involved in turning wrenches or working the machine and building stuff. And the thing we have to look at, more importantly, is the actual business aspect of it, right? So it's maintaining customer relationships, marketing, it's going out there recruiting, right? Because as a business owner, we're everybody. We're the marketing guy, we're the janitor, we're the worker, we're the recruiter. But you have to treat it as a business, and I think social media is a big part of it. And I think a lot of the guys, especially older guys, they ignore it and they don't think it's something that's a big thing, and it is. It's huge.
Right. Yeah.
We get projects shipped to us from other states, and people have never met us. All they have seen is from social media. So So for that person, in Maryland, I would say try to get some local shops and start doing their interiors. But also you got to think about this geographically, your next big project can come from 5-6 states away. Right now we have a car there from Georgia. We have Boston, Massachusetts. We have, we finished up the car that went to Texas. So it's,
Yeah, I always give them a hard time about we need to do an info commercial to play at 3 a.m., for those people that don't sleep at night. But, again, I don't, again, like I said, I've
just because you're looking for something to watch on TV, Brian.
Hey, trust me, I'm up at,
I know.
I'm up. So
listen,
but,
tell them
like I said,
tell them just take a drive up the Beltway and talk to someone in the Department of the Interior. Sell a job.
No, but I was just curious because, like I said, he's a great guy and he does really good work. He makes door panel. He does it all. I mean, he's got the talent. But
if he's working on his own stuff and he's got a car built and with his interior in it. Another thing you can do is take it to a show, win best interior. Watch how many people are going to want to talk to you.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, believe it or not, talk about he had his car that he was doing was in a body shop that I go into, and about 7:30 at night it caught on fire and he lost everything. And of course, the evils of insurance was like, well, this is what it's covered. And, of course he's saying this is what he had. And when you don't do ride-ons and keep all that stuff up to date, it was a pretty hard hit financially that way. But that's the way the punches go sometimes. But, again, like I said, I just like to see him be able to excel into the next step or do what he really wants. Because, as much as he loves tinting and audio, he really likes the fabrication or that type of stuff. And again, just curious on your input. When I see him next week, I'll give him a hard time. So.
Yeah. Listen, and if you want, you could always reach out. We get a lot of people on Instagram starting off in the business, and they'll send me a message, and we take the time, we'll talk to them and give them advice. We want to see more people in the industry.
Yeah,
there's so much work out there. There's enough work for all of us, and we just want more people to come in the industry and succeed and keep this thing growing.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I have this conversation. It doesn't matter, like I said, between my any shop that I have or all the shops I have, trying to get somebody to come in to learn or to take over in this business. A buddy of mine, a shop, he's out looking for a guy, and he just realized when he was reading his resume to me, I'm like, that dude's as old as me. And he's like, man, I'm trying to find a young guy that, can do some of that bull work and come in here and pick up the pace. I already got two old guys shuffling their feet back there. So, it's pretty tough.
What about, you said that his car got burnt up in that fire. What about when he does jobs for his friends and cuts on brakes or whatever? He prints out his own business cards. And if they take their stuff to a car show, how many times have we been in a car show and asked, hey, where'd you get that done? Or who did that or whatnot?
Oh, no, that's true. I mean, it's starting. It's a slow process.
It's slow, yeah.
I mean, any of those people, it's not overnight that when this this is years in the makings.
Here's what looking at Gil's shop on Instagram, it's like they've been in business for 50 years. And it's strong, you know what I mean? Because that's how I came across it. I'm like, wow, look at this interior, look at what they're doing. And the internet has opened up the world where you can look like the biggest shop in the country and be a small little shop.
Yeah.
So that, like Gil was saying, social media has changed the world on everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And like I said, it's again getting into that and doing that and having that time. Like I said, I always give Eddie a hard time, and but like I said, just curious on getting your foot in the door or trying to find the right opening.
Yeah, Eddie needs a GoPro and Instagram page.
Oh,
Yep.
YouTube and whatever. Get out
let
there.
The camera roll.
And reels, everything.
Yep. Let it roll.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, promotion.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I got tons of stuff and I don't have any out. So it's between all that. I mean, it's a lot of work. And then for me, I got corporate involved. They find out one thing they don't like, and that's a whole nother story, but we're still alive, so I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll be later.
So, Gil, here's a question for you. What type of car do you have? Do you have a personal hot rod or?
I do. I like to tell people I'm 6 years into my 3-year project, which is a 1970 Buick Riviera.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Very so. I had a 71. Totally different car, but
totally different car. 70 was the oddball. It's the year after the Hideaway, the year before the boat tail, the stainless trim on the side.
Right. But again, like being a Pontiac guy, being a boat tail Riviera guy, it's like you got what? That car is ugly. And other people are like, wow, that car is gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
I know.
I wound up picking up this car. I had 60,000 miles on it, all original, clean, not a scratch on it. But it had drum brakes. So I said, I just want to change the brakes to disc brakes. That's it. That's all we're going to do. Drum brakes off, we're going to put disc brakes. So now we have a custom chassis on the way, twin turbo LS.
Wait a second, you got a custom chassis?
Huh?
You got a custom chassis?
Yeah, a company called Raw Speed is building the chassis. So I have an independent rear, independent
front. Know about that.
So what happened was you put too much brake on the car and now it won't move, so you had to do all the other stuff, right?
The worst thing to do is start taking apart a car. Once you can't drive it, all those wheels start turning, and then next thing you know, the body's off and it's in primer.
Well, unfortunately, you know what the next question is now that we know what your hot rod is, right? Yeah. So now, out of the Tri-Fi Chevrolets, which is the best?
Which one? What? I'm sorry.
Out of the Tri-Fi Chevrolets, 55, 56, or 57, what's the best one?
I owned a 55 at one point, and I love 55 Chevys. But I get the attraction to 56. I think 56 has the nicest trim.
You heard him.
That's what I've been saying, right?
That counts.
I like the boxiness of the 55, but the 56 is just a beautiful piece of art. I'm not a 57 guy. I don't get the whole fin thing with the side.
Yeah.
Done. Before I have 57, I'd rather have 54. Well, that's a lie. No, I'm sorry.
Hey, Gil, you see Ray, right?
Of course he's got one.
I'm telling you, it don't matter what we talk about. He got it.
You'll get a 55 too. It's in the next room.
Gil, that's his basement.
Ray got a Nomad garage. What year's your Nomad, Ray?
55.
55. Come on, man. It's the only year.
I don't know about that. 56 is growing on me, that Nomad.
Well, you have to get past the same thing in the Nomad as you do in the car, and it's the front lights. It's the front and rear lights. That's what people are polarized on. And but I agree. Like I've been saying on this show for months, what Gil just said, I actually prefer the side trim on a 56 Bel Air better than the 55. I think it was a nicer looking trim, and it broke the two-tone. Well, it broke the two-tone too, but I happen to like what they did with the trim better than 56. So I just video, a junkyard video tonight where he picked apart a 57 and compared it to a Cadillac, saying it was more Cadillac-like than anything. Mm-hmm. So he made some good points in that video.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
You know, the
Actually, it's a
57
four-door
Buick
hot
is
top
pretty
that he was
nice too.
talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Buick gets overlooked. They had some nice body
Yeah.
lines.
Without a doubt.
Oh yeah, well that's like the Oldsmobile and all that. I mean, all the Pontiac, even the Pontiac. I mean,
yeah,
all that stuff.
Yeah,
all of them are beautiful.
Anything that old's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's what I keep telling myself.
And it's kind of cool because they changed every year back then. It wasn't like they had like a 14-year run of the same body style nip and tuck.
Yeah,
that's what I like. Early 50s Bel Air. I like that rear fender. That little,
stubby. It was a little snub nose type fender. Yeah, they were nice. They weren't overstated at all.
I want something like that slammed.
Maybe you want a swap cooler on the side window too. I know.
Maybe some wire rims.
Well, here we go. Wire rims, drop it, fender skirts, either chi-chi balls around the windshield, and you need the swamp cooler on the side. Listen, get up and wear a zoot suit, and you're going to go out with the homies. Just
definitely.
Get out.
You said a zoot suit?
Definitely. I'll
like Tom and Jerry, man.
Right.
Hey, the zoot suit is on my list.
You're tall enough to rock a zoot suit. I
up here.
See, Gil, this is it. We just call it like it is here. You know, it's like the New York vibe infected the whole show, and everybody does it like it is now.
You're gonna have to watch it. You're next, Gil. Don't worry. We won't leave you out. Don't worry.
Now I want a zoot suit.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're sweet, man.
You gotta get one like Tom did. He got the hanger in the back.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, Doki.
Tough crowd.
Oh yeah.
All right, so listen, guys. I got to be an adult in the morning, so I got to go.
That sucks.
Yeah, right.
I might just sleep late.
Oh, bum. So, Gil, hey, listen. You are family now. You're always welcome to come on just to hang out with us, or if you have anything you want to promote, you know, please feel free to come hang out with us.
Just come over and talk cars, man. Just come talk cars with us.
Absolutely. And if anybody's in the New York area, you want to make a trip up, come on up to the shop. You know, we'll show you a good time, you know, and
you got to bring cannolis, though.
Got to bring cannolis.
Yeah, I'll bring you some downstate cannolis. I'll bring you the real deal.
He's in the de Blasi area.
There you
are, Isaac.
There it is.
Right.
That's the way to roll, boy.
Right.
That's how you go to the supermarket.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're walking to SEMA with the zoot suits on, man. Let's do
that.
Yeah. Normally I'm wearing my Dickie shorts with my Cholo socks, so I'll just be dressed up.
I gotta give me some Cholo socks.
I have to find where to get them now. I used to go to Walmart and just get the long tube socks, but they're becoming scarce. Something like they're out of style or something. I don't know.
So Gil, you can stay on because Ray runs the after show.
Yeah.
And I don't know what these guys talk about. I get off and
it's way past my bedtime, so I get up at 4 a.m. every day. So this is
me too.
Man.
Yeah, me too.
So I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'll definitely be back on. And
okay, sounds good. I'll if you want, I'll put you in our Facebook group.
Awesome.
Where you'll get links all the time.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
nice
sounds
talking
good, man.
to you, Gil.
All right, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Jerry, I'll see you, buddy.
Nice meeting you,
Good night.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
All right, Lewis.
Take care. Be safe, Lewis.